Animals are not ours to eat, wear, or use. What that means is that every time you go in the grocery store, it's your responsibility to not put any products that contain animals in your shopping cart. When you go to a restaurant, same thing. Order everything else on the menu. When you're buying clothing, don't buy fur or wool. Don't buy leather. Your responsibility is not to pay for somebody else to be harmed. Animals want their own skin. They want their lives. They want their freedom. And we're talking about using them. Can you think of some ways that people use animals? Is it okay to ride horses? No, it's not. I know that sounds radical, and a lot of vegans love horses because vegans tend to really like animals. Not necessarily, but... And then when you say, well, you know what, it's actually not okay to ride horses. That's a tough one for them. But there are books written on the subject, and there's research about it, and it's not good for the horse's back. And horses, if you love horses truly, you will leave your horses alone. Give them a big place to run and stop breeding them. Can you think of any other animals that we use? What about when you go to SeaWorld? What do you see at SeaWorld? Whales? Dolphins? Okay, do you think that we have a right to take these animals away from their families and put them in a tiny swimming pool? It's excruciating for them. It is so lonely. Do you know why they jump and do all those tricks? Because they won't get fed if they don't. That's barbaric. That's torture. It's not okay. And I feel guilty because I remember going to Marineland, which is, I live in Montreal, and this is a place in Ontario, in another province. And I went there and I remember thinking, wow, I love these dolphins and whales. It's so cool. They're awesome. It didn't click. It didn't hit me that they shouldn't be there. They should be in the oceans where they can swim hundreds of miles. Can you think of any other ways that we abuse animals? Where do you go where you look at animals? Do you ever go to the zoo? Probably think it's fun there, right? Because you like animals. Most people do. It's interesting to see them. But we shouldn't be putting animals behind bars and cages. Our responsibility is to work our world around theirs, not trap them. If anybody's trapped, it should be us. I'll explain a little bit about that later. I also recommend that you don't use animals in other ways, such as by breeding pets. We should not be breeding pets, especially not cats and dogs that we then kill other animals to feed. That's why my dog Bella is vegan. She's been vegan since August 2017, and she's doing fine, perfectly fine, very happy, very healthy, runs like the wind, normal dog. Make sure your dogs are vegan. Buy healthy vegan food for them. Make sure they have taurine. Other than that, it doesn't really matter where the protein comes from. Just get a reputable brand of vegan dog food. It looks the same as anybody else's. I just, pour a cup of it, give it to Bella, and that's it. So, I'll just show you a quick thing about eating and wearing animals. See this? This is Canada Goose. Never buy Canada Goose products. Canada Goose is a terrible company, and I'm ashamed that Canada Goose is named after the country that I live in, Canada. It's nothing to be proud of. You see this poor coyote? Do you know what happens to these coyotes when they trap them? They are so terrified, hungry, thirsty, sad. They have babies that they need to go back to. They have come and found traps like that with the paw in it, but no coyote. What do you think happened? The coyote chewed off her own paw to get to her babies. Can you imagine that kind of desperation? Inside of these jackets are also feathers. And what they do with the feathers is they get them from geese and ducks, and it's just not okay. I have seen video footage where these come from, and where they take these animals and they just rip all of the feathers out, and just quickly, like in an assembly line, next. And these birds are terrified. What you can do is write to companies like Canada Goose and say, look, your coats are quite beautiful, because they are when you physically look at them. They look nice, in my opinion anyway. But they're not beautiful because they contain so much suffering. Who needs fur on the outside as a decoration? How barbaric. But you can write to their companies and you can say, listen, I would love to buy your product, but you need to make them vegan. You need to make them cruelty-free. You need to stuff them with some other material. And you need to, if you want to put some fur on it, make sure it's fake fur. All right? So if you're going to buy yourself a winter coat, make sure you check the label. Or you can Google vegan coats. There's some great brands. One of them is called Wuxley. I think it's Wuxly. You can buy that type of coat. I was hoping that they would give me one free for advertising it, but nobody's been giving me any free stuff. Anyway, I want to show you something else that showed up. Look at these guys. They showed up on my front porch this summer. This here is Martha. This is Mabel. And somebody actually threw them on my front porch because they were hoping that I would give them to my vegan dog, Bella. You know, they're trying to give me the message that Bella should be vegan. She should be eating pigs. There's no way I was going to let her bite into these toys. It would have made me way too sad. I didn't know they were toys, to be honest. I was like, oh, that's cute. What the heck's going on? But then in my comment section, whoever gave them to me was obviously pissed off that I was using them in my videos as little props. It's like, hey, those are supposed to be for Bella. You're not supposed to be playing with them. Aw. Look, why would you want to hurt a pig? They never did a single thing to you. You know? They're no different than dogs and cows. Even chickens. You know how I fell in love with chickens? I used to think like you guys, a chicken, oh, what's a chicken? It's just a bird, probably, bird brain, all this stuff I used to think. And then I saw this amazing person, this woman, I met her at an animal rights conference, and she took care of chickens in her house. And she was like amazing. She was like rehabilitating them, because you know what they do in these industries? They make the chickens, they breed them so big that they can't even stand up. Like, we've manipulated these poor animals so that we can eat them after just 6 or 7 weeks. Imagine that, a newborn, and it's forced to grow so fast, and it can't even stand up with its own weight. It's so sad. Anyway, she was rehabilitating some of these chickens who had been saved and who had never seen the light of day. Imagine that. Billions and billions of chickens that go into making all the different foods for KFC and McDonald's and these places. No windows in these buildings. Thousands of them crammed together. And they say cage-free. Do you know what cage-free means? It means they still torture them. I mean, put yourself in an elevator with 10 people and say, well, it's not a cage because you're not in your own individual cage. Yeah, you're just in a bigger cage with 10 people and you can't move and you have nothing to do all the time. What are you going to do? You're going to start fighting. Well, that's what the chickens do too. So to prevent them from fighting, they cut the tip of their beaks off so they can't hurt each other. It's not their fault. Oh, it's so heartbreaking, guys. I really hope you become vegan, or at the very least, just stick with me. Subscribe to this channel so you at least continue to think about it a little bit more. I mean, think about it. What have you got to lose? Do you really just want to watch those video game channels only and whatever, sports, or I don't know? Hang out with me a bit. Come back to class. So we went over a bunch of things. I'll just read you a couple of comments before I go. I'll just open up my TikTok because somebody wrote to me and said, open your TikTok and read some comments. So I'm just going to randomly, I'm just pushing any video that I had, and I'm just going to scroll and just see what it says. Okay. First one. Thank you for inspiring me and many others to be vegan. Oh, that's nice. Somebody wrote, it's hard to get vegan stuff because everything is running out in the shops in England. Well, you could order online, or you can just go in the store and buy any veggies, fruits, nuts, and seeds, because every store has those things. You'll be fine. Just don't put any dead animal products in your cart. Just start from that rule. Somebody wrote, people who won't be vegan. And then, there's always that. People who won't be vegan. Then somebody puts an arrow there and 562 people pressed, oh, I'm not going to be vegan. Which is what every vegan said. We've all said it, so I get it. I used to say that too. And yet here I am, a pain in the butt vegan animal rights activist. And who knows, you might be too one day. One day, you know what? You're going to say to me, Miss Katie, I watched that video of yours, and then I decided to go and do Veganuary, which is, this thing that you can join right now. Veganuary, like Veganuary, and just sign up and they'll help you to become vegan or whatever. I have had actually quite a few people apologize to me for being mean in the comment sections in the past. They said, oh, I used to hate you and I used to write all the mean stuff, and then I just kept watching all the documentaries that you recommended and realized, oof, you're right. So, do you guys remember the names of the documentaries I want you to watch? WatchDominion.com. All one word, WatchDominion.com. Okay, start with that one. What did I say? WatchDominion.com. Okay, you type in the word watch, no space or anything, Dominion.com. The link will be in this video. Okay, just a couple more. All right, what else? You didn't even talk about the video. Okay, I don't know what this person's talking about. If you really care about the animals, let's talk about the polar bears that are about to lose their homes. Use your platform for good. This person's very serious. See, they wrote it all in caps. So, besides spending all of my free time talking about animal rights, this person is upset with me because I'm not specifically talking about the polar bears. So here's my invitation to whoever this is. Abrak58, you should talk about the polar bears. Instead of writing to me and telling me to do it, you go make that your issue. All right? And don't forget, by the way, be vegan. You know what these people are. They're just so crazy. They're going to be like, you should save the polar bears. And meanwhile, they're cutting a steak and eating a steak and, stabbing a piece of ham and shoving that down, eating, buckets of chicken wings full of murdered chickens. But, I should go and fight for the polar bears. I'm sorry. I can't do everything. I am fighting for the polar bears. I'm fighting for everybody to be vegan. And if everybody was vegan right now, the polar bears would not be in trouble, because that would have been settled. All the vegans in the world would have said, we got to do something to help the polar bears and the whales and the giraffes and the elephants, all of these animals that are at risk of going extinct. And it's not even just the ones that are going to go extinct, because every animal's life matters. They are all sentient beings. They're the same as us in that they still feel. They want to be with their families. And we just have no right to harm them. I want to thank you guys for being here. Don't forget, animals are not ours to eat, wear, or use. I'll see you in the next video.